Good evening and thanks for watching Inside Out, a show where we raise awareness about Muslim heroism and activism in American society. Today's episode will focus on last month's tragic killing of 3 young Muslim American students in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. On the evening of February 10th, Deah Barakat, his wife Yosur Abu-Salha, and her sister Razan Abu-Salha were shot in the young couple's home near the University of North Carolina campus. Their neighbor Craig Hicks, a 46-year-old white man, turned himself in shortly after the crime to confess to shooting the 3 students. He is now facing a possible death sentence. Some people say this tragic incident was a hate crime, while others say it was merely over a parking dispute. Regardless of this, the crime was unjustifiable. We want to honor and pay tribute to these amazing lives that America lost that day. Deah's brother launched a Facebook page called Our 3 Winners in honor and remembrance of his lost family members. So if you'd like to know more about their story, please follow their Facebook page. Now, these 3 were very well known for their volunteerism and their passion for helping others through charities. Please stay tuned for our next segment. Welcome back to today's episode of Inside Out. Thanks for joining us. Today we have Deah Al-Jali in the studio, who is a very involved member in the Iowa City community, and she's here to talk to us about some of her volunteer work, and hopefully she's going to inspire a lot of people to get involved in their own communities. So Deah, I'll let you introduce yourself.
So my name is Deah Al-Jali, and I'm currently a psychology major. I'm a junior at the University of Iowa. I'm originally from Sudan, that's where my parents are, and I was born in Saudi Arabia.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
having me. I know that you've been a very involved member in the community, and you're involved in a lot of volunteer work, and one of those is the Iowa City Mosque. You've been teaching there for the past 5 years. How did you get involved in that?
So when we first came to the States, my father was very adamant about my brothers and I continuing our religious education and making sure that we hold on to our culture and know our roots. So when we first came, my father made sure that my brother and I had transportation to be able to get to the mosque, and it used to be in the downtown area. It was a small house, and at that time I was actually ahead of most of the students, but I still liked going there because it gave me a sense of community, and it was a safe haven for me, and I could be comfortable in my own skin, in my language, and in my culture. Whereas through Monday through Friday I would go to Weber Elementary, which was a predominantly white student body. Then after that, during the summer, the imam, he asked me if I could be the teacher for the preschool for the summer camp. I was scared, but I agreed to it, and he guided me through it. It was a good experience. I love working with kids. I've always loved kids, so it was fun for me, and I felt it gave me a sense of worth in a way. You know, at 15 years old, and I was just like, yes, I'm teaching a preschool class, and every day I would make sure that I had something ready for them, and from there I got more involved in it.
Wow, so these kids grew with you as you were teaching them. That's great. How many kids were you teaching?
So I started off with 12 kids, which was pretty hard because 12 5-year-olds is kind of pretty hectic. And then after that, each semester, as the next semester came, I switched over to the girls, the teen girls, which at the time were kind of too close to my age. Then after that, I switched back to the younger kids. Now I'm back to teaching the older girls just because I want to create a bond with them and make sure that they have someone there for them. So it's around 12. I've had up to 20 students in a classroom.
Wow. So what subject areas do you teach at the Iowa City Mosque?
With the kids, I would teach Islamic studies. I would teach them the basics of Islam, such as the 5 pillars and what Islam is about. Focus on things like being good to your parents, your neighbors, and just having good manners, and also focus on the prayer and the fundamental concepts of Islam. Then I would also teach Arabic, and I taught the alphabet. I would start from the beginning, and then we would go on to writing and reading, and I also taught Quran, reading the Quran and being able to memorize it and the meaning of it.
What do you find most rewarding about working with these kids?
Just knowing that you're making an impact. For example, when I first started the letters with the students from the first letter, Alif, and then towards the end of the semester, knowing that they know the letters because I helped them with it, that is very rewarding to know that you're making a difference in those kids. I also work on making sure that I talk to them about self-confidence and self-love, and to make sure that they know their worth. And I try to empower them at a young age, because most of the kids are from African backgrounds or Arab backgrounds, even though 90% is Sudanese children. And so I try to make sure that they know that I value them and that they're valued in their community, and I want them to have a safe haven in the masjid and to feel comfortable being themselves.
So you're also teaching them things outside of just the Quran and Arabic and Islamic studies?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. So I know that you're also working with a tutoring after-school program called Mesa.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So the same story with the mosque. The way I became involved in Mesa is that I used to be one of the students who went to Mesa every Tuesday, and I used to look forward to it because the van would pick us all up from the neighborhood center, and we would get pizza at the end of it, and it was just a nice way to do homework. And so once I reached college at the University of Iowa, I was offered to be a tutor, and so I took that opportunity right away, because I knew that my tutors had an impact on me, and so I wanted to have an impact on the kids who were about to be tutored.
Right. What are the demographics like of the kids at Mesa?
Most of them, so it's called Mesa, I think it's multi-ethnic. There's a lot of Latino kids, and there's a lot of Sudanese kids. There's also a lot of kids that are of from low wage backgrounds, and so the demographics are, marginalized and oppressed groups.
So speaking of low wage, I know that you're also working with the
Center for Worker Justice of Eastern Iowa.
Right, it's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your work there?
So I started interning in December, and I'm taking a human rights course, and part of the course is that I intern. So I chose the Center for Worker Justice of Eastern Iowa. We also call it the CWJ. And it focuses on the injustices in our community, and we try to promote change and focus on things such as affordable housing, education, and it focuses a lot on wage theft due to the increasing numbers of immigrants in Iowa City. Mm-hmm. A lot of them will take jobs such as in factories or restaurants, and right. Most of the time they don't know their rights, so people will take advantage of them. There's also a language barrier, so we try to outreach to these families and community members. For example, one of the events that we're holding right now, or one of the classes we're offering, is an ESL class. One is specifically for mothers, to make sure that mothers know at least basic English so they can communicate and be culturally competent with the education system, and also when they go to the hospital. Another project is the Photo Voice project we're working on, which has to do with housing and health. As you know, that a lot of low-wage workers, they have to live in subsidized housing, mm-hmm. and they don't always treat those houses, they don't always supply for them or give them what's the...
Right.
Sorry.
Their needs.
Their needs, yeah, or just to make sure that it's a safe environment and a safe and healthy environment.
Right.
So we're trying to educate and empower these individuals to take action and not to be afraid to speak up and say, hey, we want our rights.
So how are you involved in these projects? What's your role?
For the Photo Voice project, I'm kind of the outreach coordinator, mm-hmm. Trying to get people sending messages, making sure that people arrive and they know what's the question, and to make sure that they send in their photos, because it's called the Photo Voice project because you're supposed to take a picture of areas in your house where you feel that is unsafe or unhealthy. And then I do a lot of outreach, specifically with the Arabic-speaking community.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how can low-wage people sign up for this program?
I mean, the Center for Workers' Justice is open for anyone. If someone wants to volunteer, or if someone wants to be a member, they could just join one of the monthly member meetings. And there's a lot of events, and there's always something going on, so people are always welcome to just come.
Okay. So you're doing a lot of volunteer work in the community, and you're helping a lot of people out. What do you gain from it?
I mean, to begin with, it's part of our religion, and it's in the teachings of the Prophet to always help, and specifically to help your community. And so I don't necessarily gain anything, I don't gain money or anything out of it, but it's still it's a spiritual, that you can pray, you can fast, those are all spiritual fulfillments, but to reach out to people and to know that I'm helping or that I'm empowering others also kinds of helps me spiritually grow as a person. And so it has to do with just knowing that my reward is going to be with God, and also knowing that I'm making a difference in my community.
Wow, that's amazing. So a lot of people, I know that you're a student, you have a job, and you're doing all of these things, and a lot of people, you know, want to get involved, but they have this problem of not having time. How do you find time, and like what advice do you have for people that don't have time to volunteer?
Yeah, even I have a hard time finding time, but I guess to begin with, you have to find something that you're passionate about, something that you care about, and then just be sincere in your intention, and you will find the time for it. And I think the more things that you have going on in your life, the more you will be disciplined about your time. For example, when I know that, okay, today I have classes, then I have to go to work, then I have to go to my internship, I know that I can't mess around during my breaks. I have to make use of it. So I think just being sincere and learning to discipline yourself.
Time management.
Well, yes, time management, yeah.
Time management is key.
Yes, definitely.
So what do you have for your future plans? With school or jobs?
For now, to pass this semester, to finish this semester. Hopefully in the summer, I'll still be working with the Center for Worker Justice, and I'll also be volunteering. I'll still be working with the Iowa City Mosque. I hope to graduate with my psychology bachelor's and a global health minor, and I'm thinking of pursuing a master's in social work or public health.
Where do you want to go, like, from there in terms of career?
My ultimate goal, my dream, I have a dream, and is to open a women's health center in Sudan, which is where I'm originally from. So hopefully in the far future, that's where...
Now, what's a women's health center? Can you elaborate on that?
So what I see as a women's health center, I want to have a center in Sudan where it's for anyone, so it can be affordable, and to just teach basic women health, to teach about mother-baby health specifically, and to have programs that allow for Sudanese doctors, graduates. I know it's hard to find jobs, and to just have them be able to come to that center and provide a service, and it being a grassroots center.
Great. Well, we wish you luck on all of your future endeavors, and thanks for joining us today and talking about your work, and hopefully inspiring others to get more involved in their community.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier in the show, our 3 winners were very involved in their communities while also pursuing great careers. Deah was a student at UNC Chapel Hill's School of Dentistry, and he started a charity to improve dental health in Syria. Yosur graduated in December with a degree in biological sciences from NC State University and planned to join her husband at the dental school in the fall. Razan was a sophomore studying architecture at UNC State's College of Design. To honor them, NC State University started an endowment called the 3 Winners Fund, which will award scholarships in the 3 students' names. The scholarships will go to students showing leadership, service, creativity, who are applying to each of the students' colleges. Anyone is welcome to make donations on the university's website. Our hearts and prayers go out to their families and loved ones. And that's it for tonight's episode of Inside Out. Please connect with us on our Facebook page, Inside Out, and follow me on Twitter at Rana H. Mustafa. And feel free to comment about tonight's episode and send us ideas for what you'd like to see in our future shows. Thank you, and have a great night.